The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. The wrought iron gates of America's most exclusive neighborhood were supposed to be impenetrable. But just like that, Hollywood had a terrifying new obsession. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today we are bringing you into the inner circle of a pretty terrifying reality.
Yeah, we're looking at the actual mechanics of celebrity stalking.
Right, because we are anchoring this deep dive on the breaking news of a sweeping 3-year protection order that was just granted to the Kardashian-Jenner family.
Against an alleged stalker, yeah.
Exactly. But, we aren't just reading a legal document today.
No, not at all. We're pulling apart this ultimate illusion, the idea that ultra-wealthy gated communities actually provide safety.
I mean, you might think millions of dollars can buy peace of mind.
You'd hope so, right?
But as you're about to find out, the reality is it's claustrophobic, it's relentlessly stressful, and it is incredibly dark.
It really is. And I think we have to start by examining this massive 3-year protection order.
Yeah, because it proves that all the money in the world cannot insulate a person from, severe psychological delusions.
It's a complete failure of physical architecture to stop human obsession.
It is. And to understand just how spectacular that failure is, you kind of have to picture where this family actually lives.
Right, Hidden Hills.
Yeah. We pulled a 2026 security analysis by the Safety Host Unit. And, they paint a picture of Hidden Hills that sounds like a modern military installation.
Oh, absolutely. It's a 1.7 square mile incorporated city right in LA County.
With roughly 620 homes, right?
Exactly. And it has 247 guarded entrance gates, a strict no streetlight policy.
Which is wild.
Yeah, it's to maintain darkness and privacy, plus all these winding equestrian trails.
And the celebrity density there is just astronomical. You have Kim, Kylie, Kris, plus, massive names like Drake, Will Smith, Kevin Durant.
The whole municipality is designed for ultimate impenetrable privacy.
Yet, despite that architectural fortress, we run straight into what security professionals call the gated community paradox.
Creepy paradox, yeah. This is fascinating.
Right. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department data reveals this staggering 200% year-over-year crime increase in Hidden Hills for the first quarter of 2026.
Wait, 200%?
Yeah, 200%. Residential burglaries there actually more than doubled from 2020 to 2023.
Oh, wow.
So the data is basically telling us that a community gate is merely a bypassable layer. It offers the feeling of security without the actual mechanics of defense.
It really is the ultimate paradox. I kind of look at Hidden Hills like a medieval castle with a massive, imposing moat.
That's a good way to put it.
Right, because it honestly doesn't matter how wide or deep that moat is if the enemy can just, tailgate an Amazon delivery truck right over the drawbridge.
Exactly. The threat is already inside the walls before anyone even sounds an alarm.
And that specific vulnerability brings us directly to the bizarre case of Kyle Robert DeWick.
Yeah, so DeWick is a Colorado resident who, according to the court testimony provided by Kris Jenner, possesses a violent criminal history.
Including an assault charge, I believe.
Yes, an assault charge. And he has absolutely zero real-world connection to the Kardashian-Jenner family.
None at all.
Right. He isn't a former employee. He isn't an acquaintance. He's a total stranger. Yet, since 2021, he made 5 separate documented attempts to bypass security and enter Kylie Jenner's home.
Wait, okay. If the gates at Hidden Hills are supposedly so impenetrable, how is a guy with a violent history casually getting close enough to make 5 separate attempts?
It's crazy, right?
How does someone like that not get flagged immediately?
Well, it's because of the loopholes in how extreme wealth operates. So a private investigator hired by Kris Jenner, a man named John Romero, he uncovered that DeWick was actually touring a home directly adjacent to Kim Kardashian's property.
Oh, you're kidding.
No. A house formerly owned by Kanye West, in fact.
Wow.
High-end real estate creates a back door. If a property is for sale, agents want buyers in the door.
So Stalkers with enough
Or
resources.
simply enough confidence to fake those resources, yeah.
Right. They can use open houses or private showings to embed themselves right in the physical geography of their targets.
Exactly. They use the guise of commerce to bypass the gates.
So he is literally standing next door, studying their movements.
Yeah.
But the craziest part of this case isn't even just his physical proximity, it's the legal maneuver he pulled.
Oh, this part is wild.
Usually you hear about a celebrity filing a restraining order against a stalker, right?
Right.
In this case, DeWick went on the legal offensive first. He actually filed a federal petition against the Kardashian family.
Which just completely highlights the terrifying psychology of erotomania
Yeah.
and, parasocial delusions.
Yeah.
In his mind, the relationship was entirely real. He accused the Kardashians of, quote-unquote, surveilling him and actively conspiring to disrupt his fictional relationship with Kylie.
That is just, wow.
In his court filing, he expressed outrage. He claimed he was encouraged to fall in love with someone who chose to impregnate themselves without me as an affront.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He even built this elaborate narrative where Kris Jenner was the one communicating with him, encouraging him to propose to her daughter.
Kris Jenner obviously had to go to court and firmly deny this,
Of course.
pointing out the absolute absurdity of ever inviting a violent stranger to her daughter's home.
Right.
And just to ground this in actual reality, Kylie Jenner is dating actor Timothée Chalamet.
Right. We've seen them out together.
Yeah, they were recently highly visible at a New York Knicks game. But in DeWick's constructed reality, he is the protagonist of this romance.
And see, when a delusion reaches that level of structural integrity in someone's mind, a simple no from security just doesn't work.
Right.
They view rejection or barriers as tests of their love or as interference from outside forces like family members who are trying to keep them apart.
Which is why they escalate.
Exactly. That is why they escalate.
So the family really had no choice but to take extreme legal action. And looking at the legal breakdowns from Feinberg and Waller, the type of protection they sought is fascinating.
It is.
Because Drake is a total stranger, the family couldn't just file for a standard domestic violence restraining order.
Right.
So what is the actual mechanism for keeping someone like this away?
Well, the legal framework is crucial here. A domestic violence restraining order, or DVRO, that requires a pre-existing intimate or familial relationship.
Like a spouse or a dating partner.
Right, or a co-parent. But because DeWick is a stranger, the Kardashians had to file for a civil harassment restraining order.
Okay, got it.
And the challenge with a civil harassment order is that the burden of proof is incredibly high. You cannot just say, this person makes me uncomfortable.
You need real evidence.
Yeah. You have to demonstrate a knowing and willful course of conduct that seriously alarms, annoys, or harasses a person, and that serves absolutely no legitimate purpose.
Which means you have to prove severe emotional distress.
Exactly.
And they clearly met that high threshold. The court granted a sweeping 3-year protection order.
Yeah, it acts as a blanket shield covering Kris, Kylie, Kendall, Kim, Khloé, Kourtney, and Rob.
All of them.
All of them. DeWick is legally mandated to stay 100 yards away from their homes, their workplaces, their vehicles, and their physical persons.
Furthermore, it mandates zero contact. Like no digital communication, no phone calls, no physical mail.
And just consider the psychological toll this takes on a family.
I can't even imagine.
Kris Jenner testified under oath that she was terrified and suffering severe emotional distress. Imagine the sheer weight of knowing a man with a violent history is obsessively touring real estate next to your children.
Ugh.
Yeah. Fueled by this completely fabricated universe where he believes he is supposed to marry into your family.
It is suffocating, and it proves the community gates are just an illusion.
Absolutely.
But, if you think that's wild, wait until we look at the threat from inside the house.
Oh, this is the part that just...
Right. Because the most terrifying twist in this investigation isn't a stranger trying to get in. Later in this deep dive, we'll uncover a moment that changed this family's security protocol forever. A threat originating from someone extremely close to them.
It's chilling.
And by the way, if you want to keep unpacking these massive pop culture shockwaves with us, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Because DeWick's ability to bypass those gates isn't some bizarre anomaly.
Not at all.
If you look at the family's history, the perimeter has been failing for over a decade. We are looking at a 15-year pattern of obsession targeting this family, particularly Kim.
Yeah, it's a long history.
Let's examine this history of haunting, starting with a breach from just last year in August 2024.
Right, so that brings us to Melvin Jeffrey Conley. And this case perfectly illustrates how stalkers adapt when one barrier denies them access.
Conley originally tried to jump the perimeter fence at Kim's Malibu mansion.
But the physical barrier held up.
Right. When he failed to breach the property, he pivoted. He actually drove to Kris Jenner's house.
Wow.
He pulled up to the security gates claiming to be a Toronto Raptors basketball player and Kim's long-term manager.
Unbelievable.
He was demanding entry and telling guards he had a scheduled appointment.
And what's fascinating here is this specific incident has a very revealing Hollywood intersection.
Oh, yeah, the Emma Roberts connection.
Yeah. It wasn't just Kim's security team dealing with Conley. Actress Emma Roberts actually had to reach out and warn Kim that this man was targeting her family.
Wait, I still don't get how Emma Roberts factors into a Kardashian stalker case. Are these individuals just throwing darts at a board of celebrities?
It reveals a lot about how fixation operates, honestly.
Yeah.
Some individuals do not just fixate on one specific person, they fixate on a specific tier of fame or like a perceived archetype.
That makes sense.
Conley had previously targeted Emma Roberts in May of that same year. He managed to break into her home and actually use the landline phone inside her house to call her from her own living room.
That is just horrifying.
Right. Emma secured a 5-year restraining order to protect herself and her young son. So when she realized Conley was shifting his focus to the Kardashians, she provided that critical warning.
Which shows how the ultra-famous kind of have to operate as an informal intelligence network to protect each other.
Exactly. They have to watch each other's backs.
But, calling someone from inside their own house, that is chilling.
Yeah.
But to truly grasp the endurance of these threats, we really have to look at the Los Angeles Superior Court documents from January 2010.
The Bowman case.
Yes, this is a restraining order Kim filed against a man named Dennis Sean Bowman. It is a 15-year-old case that reads like a modern psychological thriller.
Bowman really represents the classic blueprint of escalating behavior because it rarely starts with a physical breach. It almost always begins digitally.
Which is exactly how it played out here. According to the court filings, it started in late September 2009 with a barrage of incessant Twitter messages.
Right.
Bowman publicly claimed they were deeply in love and getting married. But then the digital crossed over into the physical.
That's the scary part.
Later that September, Kim did a promotional appearance at a store called Famous Cupcakes in Beverly Hills.
And Bowman showed up in person.
Luckily, Kim had already left the venue, but the staff reported that his behavior was so erratic and bizarre that they were genuinely frightened.
The physical presence is always the first major red flag for security professionals. But the fact that he returned to that same cupcake shop on 3 separate occasions looking for her, that shows a terrifying level of persistence.
And the visual escalation is what really stands out in the police report.
Oh, the makeup.
Yeah. The documents state that on at least one of those visits to the bakery, Bowman was wearing full face paint, specifically the makeup worn by the Joker in the Batman comic books. The staff was so alarmed by a man in Joker makeup demanding to see Kim Kardashian that they called the police.
Well, when an individual starts adopting theatrical or aggressive personas, like the Joker face paint, it signals a dangerous break from reality.
Definitely.
They're no longer just a fan. They are casting themselves as a primary character in a dramatic narrative. And Bowman just continued to push that narrative.
He did. In October 2009, he escalated again by sending her a video of himself, still wearing that Joker face paint.
Wow.
In the video, he claimed he had uprooted his life, moving from Georgia to California strictly to contact her.
And he had this massive delusion, right?
Yeah, he was operating under this delusion that Kim had traveled all the way to Atlanta just to have dinner with him, but because he was running late, she stood him up.
Unbelievable.
He even detailed a fictional night where he tried to find her at an Atlanta nightclub, but couldn't get through the crowd.
Notice how the delusion rationalizes the lack of actual contact.
What do you mean?
Well, if they aren't together, in his mind, it's not because she doesn't know him, it's because he was late for dinner, or the crowd was too big.
It protects the fantasy.
Exactly, it protects the fantasy. And that fantasy drove him to track her movements all across Los Angeles.
Right. When she did a public appearance at the Beverly Center Mall, he showed up and had to be physically ejected by security.
And then the smoothie shop incident.
Yes. When she casually tweeted about getting a smoothie in Santa Monica, he immediately arrived at the location, aggressively demanding to see her.
It got to the point where the LAPD's threat management unit had to get involved.
The TMU, yeah.
They eventually tracked him down at a laundromat in Calabasas. And his explanation to the detectives was wild.
I remember this.
He told them he had seen media reports that Kim broke up with Reggie Bush. And Bowman genuinely believed that the breakup happened because of a song he had sung to her in a video.
So he thought he was the catalyst for her major life decisions.
Exactly. Let's actually unpack the LAPD Threat Management Unit for a second, because their involvement is significant.
Go for it.
The TMU isn't your standard patrol division. They are specialized detectives trained in behavioral analysis. Their entire mandate is to assess red flags, analyze the language of obsessed individuals, and, intervene before a fixation turns into physical violence.
They are the psychological defense line.
They are. But even the TMU struggled to break Bowman's delusion.
Yeah, even after the detectives explicitly told him to stop, and even after Kim's legal team sent a formal cease and desist letter in January 2010, the delusion held firm.
He just kept emailing the lawyers, right?
He did. He pivoted to claiming he wanted to play the Joker in the next Batman film and that Warner Brothers was secretly surveilling him through Twitter. He completely bypassed the reality of the legal warnings.
When you lay out this history, a decade and a half of severe, escalating delusions, from Joker face paint in 2010 to federal lawsuits in 2024, you have to ask how someone actually survives this on a daily basis.
The answer is that they have to completely militarize their existence.
Yeah.
And the massive catalyst for this was Kim's horrific 2016 Paris robbery, where she was held at gunpoint in a private hotel suite.
That incident just broke the illusion of safety entirely. Security analysts now refer to that night as the most heavily studied celebrity targeting case in modern protection history.
It changed everything. Following Paris, the family's approach to real estate and personal safety evolved into a tactical framework.
Which brings us back to the Safety Host Unit Guide. Securing an estate for someone of this profile requires operating across 4 distinct, highly controlled zones.
Let's walk through the mechanics of those zones because it is fascinating. Zone 1 is off-property awareness.
Right, which isn't just about having a bodyguard walk behind you.
No, it involves active counter-surveillance. Like if Kim goes to a restaurant, advanced teams are checking the exits. Drivers are required to take varying, unpredictable routes home every single day.
And it also demands extreme social media discipline delaying posts so nobody knows her real-time location.
Exactly. And then you have Zone 2, which is perhaps the most dangerous, the arrival sequence.
Oh, security experts call the driveway a fatal funnel.
Oh, the fatal funnel, yeah.
The 30 seconds between a community gate opening and a locked front door securing behind you, that is the highest risk strike window.
Because the vehicle is stationary, but the passenger isn't inside the safe house yet.
Right. So to mitigate this, you need active real-time radio coordination between the community gate and the property gate, and you must have actual physical driveway officers visible during all arrivals to deter an ambush.
Then you move into Zone 3, perimeter and grounds. This is where technology really takes over.
The tech is intense.
We are talking hardened anti-climb fences, overlapping high-definition camera coverage of every conceivable entry point, infrared sensors, and automatic license plate readers at the property line.
And finally, there is Zone 4, the household interior. This requires the intense ongoing background vetting of every single person who crosses the threshold.
Staff, vendors, housekeepers, everyone.
Everyone. And you have to understand, this 4-zone system isn't just theoretical posturing. It is a necessary functional defense mechanism.
Because it actually gets tested.
Yeah. In July 2025, there was a highly coordinated attempted burglary at Kim's Hidden Hills home.
And what stopped them? It wasn't the famous Hidden Hills community gate. The intruders easily bypassed the municipal perimeter.
Nope, and it wasn't the local sheriff's patrol either.
Exactly. The intruders made it all the way to her property line. It was Kim's own Zone 3 on-property camera systems and her dedicated driveway officers that detected and deterred the threat before they could breach the physical house.
The private infrastructure worked where the community infrastructure failed.
It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the community gate is just a suggestion, not a shield.
Absolutely.
But just when you think you have mastered the 4 zones, just when you think you've built the perfect impenetrable fortress, the entire paradigm shifts.
The inside job.
Yes. What happens when the threat doesn't have to bypass the gates because they already have the keys?
That is the scariest part.
And a quick reminder, stay tuned and hit subscribe so you never miss how we break down these massive pop culture shockwaves. Because we have to talk about the headline that absolutely changed everything for Kim. A hit ordered from the inside.
This is the moment where the standard tactical security playbook is essentially rendered useless. All the cameras and driveway guards in the world cannot protect you from someone who is already inside the inner circle.
No, they can't. And we all saw this terrifying reality unfold in the shocking trailer for season 7 of The Kardashians.
Yeah, that wasn't scripted drama. It was raw panic.
Kim receives a phone call from a private investigator, and the investigator delivers the most chilling sentence imaginable. He says, quote, "Someone extremely close to me put a hit out on my life."
The gravity of that realization is almost impossible to process.
I can't imagine hearing those words.
The trailer instantly cuts to flashing sirens, heavy police activity outside the estate, and you see Kylie and Kendall visibly reacting to an immediate, blaring security alarm.
Kim's voiceover during that sequence really says it all. She plainly states, "I'm terrified out of my mind."
And sources close to the production and the family reported that she was rattled to her absolute core.
As anyone would be.
Look at the mechanics of why this is so devastating. We just detailed the 4 zones of security.
The off-property counter-surveillance, the fatal funnel, the fences.
Right. How does a human being function when a lethal threat completely bypasses all 4 of those carefully constructed zones because the assassin is already standing in the courtyard?
It makes the moat completely irrelevant.
Entirely irrelevant.
When you deal with a stalker like Kyle DeWick or a delusional person in Joker makeup like Bowman, as terrifying as those situations are, the threat remains external. It is a stranger.
Exactly.
You can physically build a barrier against a stranger. You can use the legal system to put 100 yards between you and a stranger.
But an assassination threat originating from someone quote-unquote extremely close to you, that forces a total psychological reset. It violates the absolute sanctity of your trusted environment.
And the aftermath of a breach like that requires a lifestyle change that most of us cannot even fathom.
No, it's extreme.
According to industry reports, Kim is now living under what security professionals categorize as Secret Service level protection.
Yeah, this means she is surrounded by a massive, highly armed security detail 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And we aren't just talking about a guy standing by her front door. The logistics of this are staggering.
Right, there are guards permanently stationed at her home. There are chase cars following her personal vehicle everywhere she goes.
Security personnel are proactively stationed near her children's school before they even arrive.
Her Skims and SKKN corporate offices are completely blanketed by private forces.
Her team now aggressively screens absolutely everyone. Even basic routine deliveries to the house are heavily vetted and searched before they're allowed near the main residence.
She just cannot afford to take a single chance because the margin for error is 0.
It is 0.
And beyond the exhausting logistics of moving through the world like a head of state, consider the profound psychological devastation.
The loss of trust.
Exactly. The ultimate casualty here isn't just privacy, it is the total loss of trust.
It is the suffocating isolation of fame. When a hit is allegedly ordered by someone close to you, your brain has to constantly scan for betrayal.
You're always on edge.
You are forced to view every single person in your life, your lifelong friends, your household employees, your trusted business advisors, through a lens of extreme suspicion.
You have to silently question the motives of everyone who walks through your door.
Which means you are living in a permanent state of hypervigilance.
You really are. I mean, you can build a 1.7 square mile fortress in Hidden Hills. You can spend millions hiring the most elite, tactically trained driveway officers in Los Angeles.
You can secure sweeping 3-year legal mandates from a federal judge.
Right. But if you fundamentally cannot trust the person sitting across from you at your own dinner table, the concept of safety is just a mirage.
It raises a deeply unsettling question that lingers long after these shocking headlines fade. In a world where billion-dollar real estate, 4-zone, private, military-style security, and strict legal boundaries can barely keep the physical threats at bay. What happens to the human psyche?
It's a dark thought.
If you cannot even trust the people inside your meticulously vetted inner circle, is true peace of mind actually impossible for a mega celebrity? Does achieving immense global fame inherently mean accepting that you will live the rest of your life as a target?
It is a profound price to pay. And, it forces us to reconsider what we are actually envying when we look at that level of celebrity.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.